Hey guys, welcome back to Pointless Perspectives. Just chilling out here, I guess. So, I guess we'll first talk about, what's been up in the last week or so.
I mean, I feel like the obvious thing to start with or bring up first was the Super Bowl this past weekend. I mean, and um, at the Super Bowl that was this weekend, the weekend performed,
Mm,
and it was so good. I didn't realize how many like iconic songs he had until I heard them all in like the medley.
mm.
Also, if you have been living under a rock and you didn't watch the Super Bowl or hear anything about it, Tampa Bay won and Tom Brady was voted MVP. But are we surprised? Absolutely
Maybe disappointed, but
not. Yes.
not surprised.
Yeah. Um. And then what else?
A lot of memes were made off of the weekend's performance because he had like a part where like he messed around with the camera and like was holding it kind of vlog style and was like spinning around, and like people have been like screen capping it and like using it for their memes and everything.
I'm gonna be honest. I was watching it and I got a little dizzy because it was just round and round.
Nice, yeah.
Mhm.
He wanted to really interact with people, but all
Not.
interaction was through a screen.
Yeah, like interact, but like not really, but still.
Mm,
Type stuff. It was good. It was really cool though because since they can't have people obviously and the stadium was relatively empty, they got to use the whole entire stadium for the performance. So the sets were all up like throughout the stands, and
mm,
like also in the stands you had like violinists and gospel choir people, and it was
mm.
nice.
I think that's. I think the weekend as a performer, that's what he's really good at. Like, kind of coming up with like grand ideas. Maybe. Uh, I saw like some of his like award ceremony performances, and like he tried to like make something unique with his performances. There's like some like storyline that he's following with his album and stuff,
Mm, that's a
and
yeah,
he's incorporating it into his you know his like
aesthetic.
performances and everything. Yeah, I mean, man, he's beaten that suit dry. It has been the same suit he's worn, I think, since maybe slightly before Blinding Lights. But even if I just say like he's been wearing that only since Blinding Lights and all that came out, that's been like months.
Yeah, I mean, kind of crazy. I am so intrigued. Like, obviously, I'm not like a like very like hugely into the weekend.
Hmm.
In terms of like I know the history and the backing of
Yeah, I
all of
don't
his
know like the
albums and stuff,
storyline. Yeah.
but I am so intrigued as to what the storyline is because I remember at like one of the 2020 like like award ceremonies, he won a bunch of awards, and each time he came out, but he had bandages all over his face,
Hmm.
and I'm like, we knew that it was like plastic surgery implied, but we didn't know like, or at least I didn't know like what's the reasoning? Like, what level is he on? I want to get it. I want to be.
I
I
didn't
want to
even know.
understand.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know it was like plastic surgery, like implying plastic surgery, like healing stuff because I didn't know until that like the most recent music video came out where they did like the prosthetics to make him look like extremely like surgeried,
Mhm.
completely plasticed up at the face. Like I just saw like remember like I guess like the music videos, like the progression, like him like almost like getting like from being normal to bandage to the plastic surgery version. But I just figured it's something to do with like image issues, but I didn't know that the bandages were that for that reason until he did that music video. Until then, I just thought he was wearing the bandages because of the his like second song to be like to connect it all, I guess.
Yeah, I don't particularly know. I just want to understand because I feel like once I understand what he's doing, it'll mean so much more. Cause like as like an ignorant person right now almost, I'm like, so what's happening? Like what's the situation type deal?
Mm. Mm.
But yeah. In other news, kind of like doing a little bit of a 180, um former First Lady Michelle Obama is getting her own Netflix TV series. And it's basically, I think it's like a continuation of her whole like get up and move like program that she had when she was the first lady. And it's
Mhm.
basically about like cooking or like healthy eating, targeted towards kids. Honestly, getting some Sesame Street vibes with like the puppets,
There's
but
puppets in it?
like puppet. Well, it just very Yeah, I think it's puppets. I'm gonna go with puppets. I'm gonna lock that in. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And
Is
I
it
think
necessary?
Michelle Obama did go on Sesame Street, so
Yeah.
maybe it was inspired by that.
I don't know. Is
Hmm.
it necessary?
Maybe not. To be honest, they don't have a
Didn't she have?
trailer.
Doesn't she have the podcast too?
Oh yes, she does the Michelle Obama podcast. She's really like branching out, and I appreciate it. Like her book was cool, the Becoming book, and now she has a podcast. And now she's doing TV. A lot of these like political figures, but like also not political figures are like getting into like podcasting. Like what Prince Harry or former Prince Harry um
Meghan
and
Markle.
Meghan Markle, they have one on Spotify. Um and then like well, that's the two examples I got right now, but I swear I think Barack Obama could come out with one because he had that new book that just launched.
Listen,
Like,
I don't know how much I feel about that kind of stuff though. Like, I don't know about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle because they kind of like what like renounced royalty and like cut off like the financial stuff that comes from being a royal. But like when you're like a president or like a formal president, you get like a
yeah.
annual salary like that's way more than needed to like survive, you know what I mean, like it's six figures. And like and that you just get paid that because you were former president.
President. Yeah. The retirement benefits are pretty substantial, I would say.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of government officials get certain like almost like pensions, I guess, varying
Yeah.
on like how high up they were. And so it's like I don't know, a lot of this kind of just feels like them trying to make more money because obviously like because of their status, doing stuff like this helps promote and like get more money. And like I just don't know if it's like worth like if that's necessary.
See, I totally get that, and I feel the same way about that you might feel about like the Obamas. That's how I feel with like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, but also the Jonas Brothers. Like, like there's only it's like you can't. What is it? The phrase is like, uh, "Don't beat a dead horse." Like the Jonas Brothers, when they made their comeback, they really stretched out because they had the Amazon like docu series or documentary, and then they had their tour, and then I think they came out with a book as well.
Mm.
And so it was like
It kind
everything.
of makes sense when you're a musician because your entire career is based off of milking an album out
Mm,
for a certain like for as long as you can. Um
yeah.
I guess maybe milking is not the right word, but promoting
Yeah.
yourself and the album and to get more revenue because that is your source of revenue. But when it's like political figures, like I'm like really like I can maybe justify like Harry and like Meghan Markle because they don't have any other jobs.
It's not like
But
they couldn't get them. Like Meghan Markle was and still is like an actress.
yeah, but like now she's a mom, and usually that's always like changes like actresses' perspectives on like taking projects and stuff like that. And like the amount of drama that like revolved around just like being her in that relationship, which like I haven't gone into full like research about, but like just in general, like I can't, I don't understand. I don't know for sure like if there's like a side that you can choose. I like on one end it's like, you kind of expect the British royalty to be prejudiced, and they probably were prejudiced against her or like racist to her. But I haven't looked into it enough to know like everything. They just like really bashed her for a really long time.
Dude, it be like that. I mean, Diana, the whole Crown series, that the story that is kind of showcasing. But I mean, speaking of royalty,
Ahaha,
ha
what a
ha ha.
segue. Yeah, I guess speaking of royalty, we're talking about Princess Diaries this week, folks. Basically, we're gonna throw it back, throw it all the way back. Something I found out by researching about this movie is that it came out. The first one came out in 2001, so this was before we really understood movies, and like so we were watching a rerun of a movie, and then in my more teenage adult life, I found out that it wasn't just a movie, it was a book series adaptation. So, a little bit about the cast, I think it's like an iconic cast. A lot of people know about it, but
Mhm.
first movie, the main people was like Anne Hathaway, and her grandmother is played by Julie Andrews. And then the second movie, it is Anne Hathaway's back but now she is the princess, and it's with Chris Pine playing like her
Oh.
potential love interest, like the royal wedding kind of concept. So it's a little interesting, a little spicy.
So spicy.
Mm.
Yes. To be honest, okay, I didn't know that it came out in 2001. Uh, so that makes me feel like be like, oh shoot. So I was like real young. But genuinely after this like movies series, like after I watched it, I for sure, like that night or like for the rest of the week, I was dreaming that I too was like a long lost princess of a small country in Europe or Asia, just like Anne Hathaway's character, Amelia. Just because, everyone wants to live out that kind of fantasy, you
I mean,
know?
I thought Genovia was a real place, so
I Deadass, I probably looked on the map when I was like,
yes, I looked it up. I was like, oh, Genovia looks so pretty. Where is it?
Los Angeles, Hollywood.
That's when I was like I first learned how much I was lied to by Hollywood. I took a lot of places that I thought were real for granted, but they weren't real.
Man, if Genovia was real, man, oof, that'd be cool. Be so cool. It's a little country. Well, I mean, like countries like that obviously do exist, but Genovia itself and like Anne Hathaway was the ruler, and Julie Andrews was like the regent.
I mean, I
Kind of,
think like thinking about royalty and like that movie, I think Princess Diaries was that first movie where we really experienced like a real life, quote unquote, real life princess, or we thought was a real life like like a in our
yeah,
world type princess.
yeah.
Our exposure had always been like animated princess movies, and this gave us like a first like in person like real life person acting out like they were a princess. And so I genuinely was like, oh, so princes and princesses are like a real thing that must still exist.
Mhm.
And so that's probably one of the reasons why I like looked it up and stuff. And they do exist, like royalty lines from like the monarchy days before like European countries switched over to democracy. Like they do exist, like the royal line, but they don't have like this crazy governing power
Yeah,
like they show it in Genovia.
it's more like figureheads. They're kind of more so just for show. Like obviously they do live affluent, like pretty nice lives
Hmm.
from the Instagrams like posts that I've seen,
No.
but it's not necessarily to the level of what we saw in the Princess Diaries. But okay, so bringing it back to those animated princess stories, I was thinking the whole time that it was like a mashup of like three different. stories in one. Let me tell you which ones because I thought I was onto something when I came up with this. So, Cinderella with the whole rags to riches type thing, because like in the movie, she obviously doesn't like it's like a small apartment and it looks kind of scattered. In the books, it's like in Greenwich Village, New York, which I think is expensive,
Mm.
but I don't
I was
know.
gonna say, I think it's just like a really expensive place, and like her mom was an artist, so
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, semi rags to riches. More like the
rags and
way.
riches for a rich area.
Yes. Okay, then my second one that I think they added in was Aladdin because, and that's particularly in the second movie because there's like this whole like scheme that goes into play where like in order for um, Mia Anne Hathaway's character to get the throne, she has to get married, and it's kind of the same thing with like Jasmine. Like in order to remain in power, she has to get married to somebody. Okay, and then my last one is Mulan because Mia in both like the first, but more so in the second movie, she kind of like a bad bee, man. Like she doesn't get pushed around that much, or like especially in the second movie when people are always like they're trying to tell her what to do or how to live or whatever. She like stands up for herself. And she's like, no, screw you, and yeah,
I mean, I guess they're trying to show like an independent girl that like survived with just her single, like her
yeah,
reference was her single mother, and like so you obviously get like a much more strong personality than what they expect of, I guess, royalty, in the sense that like, not saying that royalty aren't strong minded, but that they have to uh be pleasing to everybody,
yeah.
and like a good host and just like kind all the time. But like Mia was kind of like, if it's gonna insult me or like my friends and family, like I'm not gonna stand for it or something like
Hmm.
that, I guess. I feel like you were really stretching with those animated princess stories, but I'll just give it to you because I don't know what else.
I was trying here, and just let me have it, okay? Just
I
my
mean, great way
brain
of
was
using comparisons between the animated princess stories to show characteristics that are in the movie.
okay. Call me out, why don't you? Cool, 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 cool.
I just think it's hard to like envision what you're saying because the, the settings of those three movies is that like princesses exist, or like this is normal in this setting. But Princess Diaries is in the setting that like, oh, princes and princesses are like one in a, they're not really that
There's
real.
something out of fairy tales,
And yeah, this
essentially.
is a normal high school girl, like that you can relate to kind of thing. And boom, all of a sudden her life changes.
Okay, well, I tried.
No, it's
I really thought I was like big brain up in here. I was like, shoot.
is Princess Diaries a Disney production? Like the
I
movie?
want to say yes,
Mm.
um, but let's check it out before I confirm. Yes, it
While
is.
you do that, I'll do a quick anecdote or whatever. So when I found out about the book series, I don't remember how much of the book series I read. We have in our little notes thing that there's 11 books. I did not read 11 books of this story. I think there's probably like an original storyline that like of like maybe 3 or 4 books that I read. But I read it. I really liked the series. Obviously it had to have been good to become a movie. Uh, and so I started looking into like, well, when you read the book, you realize very quickly that like a lot of it is cut out, or like the sequence of events from the books to like the sequence of events in the movies, or like the wrong sequence of events that happen in the book, and it just doesn't fit as exact as you think it would. Like, and so like this whole like book to movie adaptation wasn't as pristine as like you would think. And so I started to look into it, and like reading about like the author, like I think her name is Meg Cadit or something like that.
Hmm.
And I started looking into it, and like apparently like she like really was upset. Like it was like a huge like ordeal because she hated the first movie.
Oh,
She hated the
really?
series, like the movie adaptation, because they completely tore apart what she wrote and redid it. But like but it's considered to us as viewers, so like a lot of viewers, as an iconic movie. But that's also because the books are like before our time, if you think, I
I'm gonna
guess.
just say it. I like the movies better than the books because I did not read 11 books, but I read like the first couple at
Mhm.
least. And I don't know. I just vibe with the movies more. It might have been because I saw the movies first,
Yeah.
but
And the
like
movies were good.
the movies were good. Yeah. Also, like in the books, like the dad is the one that comes to get Mia when like she first finds out that she's an heir to like the throne.
Mm.
But in the movies, I really like the whole grandma, like
Dynamic.
dynamic that like added because it's essentially again like two strong women, and the dad is dead, and so the fact that the dad is not in the picture or like has died, um, like later on in like the second movie or even just in the later plot of the first movie, the dad has like letters that he wrote and stuff like that, and they use that as like a device to like or like a catalyst for like Mia to like change her views a little bit or like understand the situation a bit more.
Mm.
And I think that was nice. Also, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was reading the little like kind of like plot summaries just to like bring it back, and the books are some spicy stuff. Okay?
Hmm.
They were like, I mean, like obviously the target audience was like teen girls, but it was like talking about all the bases that they went to and
Mm.
like 7 minutes in heaven, and it was like, whoa. I was like, wow, I totally forgot about this.
Yeah, I just think like in general, like the whole book was like very different than the movie.
Hmm.
Like had it did not enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, obviously, you want your work to be displayed as you intended.
Yeah, I think she like almost like boycott, like not boycotted, but like she like completely dissed the existence of that movie.
I love that that's what happened with it. And then honestly, but I know it didn't like launch Anne Hathaway's career, but like,
No, it did though.
but yeah, it kind of
She
did.
was unknown. She was unknown up until that point.
Okay, I just thought I wasn't entirely sure, so I had to, But yeah,
I'm pretty
so
sure it launched hers and Chris Pine's career.
really, I didn't know it launched Chris Bryant's career.
Well, I doubt that he was in big projects previous to it.
Mm, who knows? But yeah, I love how like she's like movies Wayne did they weren't the move, but then those movies proceeded to launch the career of Anne Hathaway and Chris Pine, two of like two very iconic individuals when it comes to the entertainment industry, whether it be rom coms or um, like or action movies or like
Yeah, just in general, like
general.
they were they became people that we knew
Yeah,
versus just
like
nameless characters.
yeah, like household names, like Anne Hathaway. You hear that name and you're like, oh shoot, you know like who she is.
Hmm. I love that it's a stage name. Like it's not her real name.
Okay, yeah, and apparently she hates her stage name. She she hates the name Anne.
I think that like her production, or sorry, not her management team recommended it. And
Mm,
obviously she was so small, like she was just like building her career, that she probably
went
agreed
with
to
it.
it and like just used it. And then it like once her career shot up, which I think is like in the situation of Princess Diaries was very sudden,
Mm,
that like that's what people became like started to know her by, and that was it. She kind of stuck with it.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get you. That's just rough though, because imagine choosing a stage name like she did and just like hating it for the rest of your life, but you can't change it because that's how you got your start. That's such a rough situation. Poor Anne Hathaway.
I don't know,
Um,
it's pretty iconic. I don't know. I don't think there's that many Anns in Hollywood. surprisingly.
None are coming to mind right now, but they might come up later.
Mm.
Um, no, okay. One of my favorite scenes, because obviously, like, there are some pretty like basic, like typical tropes that we saw. But one of my favorite things, my favorite scenes of the movie, was the mattress surfing.
Mm.
Because they had a sleepover or something in the second movie, I believe, before like for Mia's birthday, and it was like a slumber party, and they like did it up, and mattress surfing, seeing Andrews ride that mattress like a freaking pro was um insane. Was very inspiring. I genuinely, if I get the chance, if there are stairs in my future house, I will be trying that. I just want to put it out there.
This used to be like wide enough to hold a mattress.
We ain't rich here. Get a twin XL and call it.
But still, is is the stairway wide enough for a twin XL?
I feel like it would be right.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't slept in a twin XL for a while.
Mm, mm,
you know.
flex.
Okay. It wasn't a flex. It was a sad, like a tear, because I miss college. Um. Okay. So my final question about this whole thing, watching what we watched, knowing what we knew, reading what we read, all of the things.
Mm.
If you were in Mia's position and you like finally got to visit the royal palace, what is the first thing you would do? Because I mean, they took us on a tour of that thing in like
I think
one episode.
I would go on a tour. I'd like run around, not run around, but like go around and like try to see everything.
Hmm. Okay, I get that. I get that. I think I would explore the closet like first.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously I would love to like tour it and like find cute reading nooks or whatever, but the closet in particular in the movies looked very high tech because there
Mm.
was a remote. And
Especially for that time,
mhm,
2001. That must have been so cool.
yes. Literally unseen before, ever before. And okay, this is just a me thing because like I'm weird about like not weird, but like my thing is like you don't leave a paper trail. And when you're like having like an important conversation or like important discussions, you don't leave a paper trail. You call someone and you talk about whatever important thing you want to talk about, right? I wouldn't text it. And so this whole like thing about having like a diary and writing everything down, do you think that like as an heir to the throne, should all of this like potentially like precarious or like spicy information be documented down into one item that like I think she like hides under her pillow?
I mean, it's not like it's not like royal secrets. Like she's just talking about her emotions. Like that's what a diary is. It's to write out your feelings and you know put it down somewhere so like you can just have it for reference or just like it's there. It's like out of your system kind of thing. And so I think that's what she used it for. Like just like all of her personal stresses for being a princess, she let out into her diary, and that's what we were reading. It's not like we were, come on, like in the movie or anything. It's not like we got into like such nitty gritty details about.
Well, no, there was like that one part where she like eavesdropped on like the chan the council meeting or whatever, and like she found out some like information about like how she had to get married or whatever. And so like that's not necessarily like information that like the public would know or like any
But it was
rando.
information the public knew.
Huh?
I mean, it was like it's not like it was kept secret. Like they intentionally were pushing to find her a husband and all that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like getting married like that for like the throne, like that's not like a secret secret. It's not like the financial.
Yeah, but then what if she writes about the financials in there, man? It's a
No,
diary, everything goes in there, no?
not like that's what I'm saying. Like a diary isn't about like it's just about your emotions, so it doesn't like really matter.
I
Like
mean,
there's not
yeah,
it's not like your work secrets. It's just your feelings.
but wouldn't that include, like, emotions about a particular thing? And so, like,
Yeah, but
essentially,
so
you would
many
have to
people.
describe the thing, right?
I know, but like so many people have diaries, and they might be like in like like intense situations. Like, come on, like Anne Frank.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have been
Okay,
writing
well,
any of
I
that
can't
down.
talk about Anne Frank.
But I'm just saying, like they're just like documented like emotions. Like it's
Mm,
sometimes you don't have anything else to do, so you write it down.
hmm, alright, I get the Princess Diary. Okay, I see the
I'm
vision.
not saying that's exactly like what people like a princess should do, but it's what she did because that's what she was doing before she became a princess.
That's true. I think it's like I guess it was essentially like a comfort type thing.
Mm,
Intriguing, intriguing. I don't know if Imma start a diary after, like, watching this stuff, but I do think,
it's
um,
hard.
it's, like, hard to be consistent, I feel like. Like, those
Mm,
consistent entries and, like, doing it every day, like, that's a commitment that I do not have in me. So, I admire that they took that kind of take on it, and that's how, like, they introduced the monologues or stuff like that. It's
yes.
but yeah, I do ugh, this is making me wanna rewatch the movies all over again.
It's on Disney Plus, guys.
I mean, if you got it, why not watch it?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're gonna do after this. Yep, that's the plan.
Weekends plans
Yes.
already written off. Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, this weekend is Valentine's Day, so there is a lot of stuff coming out for Valentine's Day.
I mean, if we see any new rom-coms, any new anything, I mean, To All the Boys is coming out, so stay tuned.
Look forward to that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, guys, I think we might wrap it up here,
Hmm.
and we will talk to you guys next week.
All right. See ya.
Yeah. Bye.